All regions of Clare, with the exception of Ennis, will have additional funds for roads maintenance in the coming year. Clare County Council has unveiled a €48 million funding package for municipal district works in 2026. €9 million has been set aside for the Kilrush region, indicating a 6% increase on last year. The Ennistymon area has been allocated €6.5 million, up 20% on 2025, while Killaloe is seeing a 3% boost to just shy of €7.4 million. Shannon's share of funding has shot up by 14% to €3.3 million, while Ennis is the only municipal district seeing its funding drop this year, with just €2.98 million given to the county town, a decrease of 12%. The funding package was unveiled to Ennis's local elected representatives at a special meeting of Áras Contae on Chláir this week. And Clare FM's Seán Lyons went along and spoke to a number of elected representatives, including the Clarecastle Fianna Fáil Councillor Tom O'Callaghan, to get their thoughts.
This broadcast package on Clare FM is funded by the Local Democracy Reporting Scheme.
Look, any money that's going down can't be a good story, really. The end result of all this is that we have an allocation being given. It's effectively down, I think, about 398,000 on last year. I'm again going to reiterate that is a problem for me. How can we then, as councillors, how can, with the great team of engineers, be able to service and deal with the public issues if we don't have adequate funding? I mean, at the moment, I've been fighting to get an upgrade on the footpaths and the road in Pine Grove Estate, an example. Abbey Court has now been brought to my attention as well. And let's be very clear on this. They are substandard, some of these footpaths. And, you know, I always come back to litigation. If someone hurts themselves, well, are we not going to lose money just from that basis that someone's going to be in a position that they're going to have to sue the council? Like, we have to take into account health and safety. The end result.
So you'd argue that it's financially sensible to invest more money so that you're not paying out large sums should somebody sue in the event of an issue?
Oh, absolutely. Like, I mean, you have to look at it from that point. And not only that alone, if it's a case that you are reducing the budget in a world where we have more cars, more traffic, we have a population of 30,000 in Ennis, so that means that the usage is not going to reduce. So by cutting back the budget, what we're effectively doing is we're getting a pot of money from central government. The end result of this is, and in fairness to Seán and his team, they're trying to work within the pot that they have. So what they've done is they've looked at other roads around, and if you take into, say, Killaloe, I think an increase of about maybe around 18%, Kilrush probably around 40% more, Ennistymon 2, and then we look at Ennis, minus 12. I mean, that can't be good for our area. So the point I'm coming back to is, I don't believe that we're doing enough as a council. We have to sit down. We have to look at the money that is acceptable, we believe, to keep a good standard on our roads. And we have to get then our Oireachtas members tuned up, and we have to get the central funds to ensure that it's more money we're getting rather than reducing.
And the council has drawn attention to the fact that its own resources allocation has gone up by over €1 million in the last year. So they are investing locally. That investment is coming from the local authority. Is it a local authority problem or is it a national issue? We heard about central government funding constraints. We heard about the Oireachtas members as well. Are they doing enough?
No, well, I think this has to be a two-pronged approach. First of all, we seriously have to sit down ourselves. We have to talk to Seán and his team. How much do we actually need right now to maintain a proper standard? And then is there further investment we can achieve? Then it is we then to get onto our Oireachtas members, and they have to fight that case centrally. Because if we don't, we're going to have a further deterioration on the roads, which is going to require substantial money in the years ahead. That, to me, is not a good way of doing business. So what we have to maintain what we have, and we have to get that money centrally. And I believe now from hearing today, we have a new engineer starting, Hugh, as you heard, and he's actually made some very, very good proposals in how we may look at other ways of getting funding, which hasn't been allocated to us already. But more importantly here is that there is funding there for our footpaths. So we need to look at that, and hopefully we can make substantial investments in the years to come.
I'm conscious that there will be people in West, North and East Clare who will be hearing this, and indeed the local representatives will be hearing this. They'll be welcoming their allocations. We heard, for example, that West Clare has 30% of the roads network in the county, so they think it's fairly justified. You'd imagine that they're getting a larger allocation. When you talk about Ennis and the deficits here, what would you be referring to specifically? Where are we seeing the substandard roads?
Well, if you take into account, if you go back now, West Clare, money is needed there. We have seen deterioration on roads. Now we have the golf coming. This money has to happen. That's not the problem. The problem is if we look at, and again, I'm coming back to as perfect examples, you have the Pine Grove, you have turnaround to Abbey Court. These are just local areas. If if you just walk down there, you'll see where they have subsided in footpaths. They need to be addressed right now. So then when I write in a letter and I come back from the great engineers to say, due to financial constraints, that cannot be allowed to continue. So we need to sharpen the pencil, we need to focus on the Oireachtas members, and we need to increase the funding, not to accept reduction. If you take into account, since 2024, we're looking at over 800,000 of reduction. That can't be good for us.
Mayor of Ennis, Fine Gael Councillor Mary Howard, we've heard today that Ennis's roads funding allocation for the coming year comes to just shy of €3 million. It's down slightly on last year, down significantly, you might say, on 2024, and is part of a €48 million funding pot county-wide. What's your own perspective on this? Is this a healthy allocation for the county town, or are you disappointed that it isn't getting an increase as other parts of Clare are?
Well, I suppose the reality, and being a realist, is that West Clare and North Clare have a much broader road network than we have here in the municipal district of Ennis. But still in all, when you hear that we're only getting, the ideal is that you will be working on 10% of your roads each year. And as Cyril said to us inside, we're only getting between 5 and 6%. And that's purely down to funding from national government. So we have said today that we want to get the Oireachtas members to come in and meet us, because I truly believe that we need to lobby better to get more funding into the county. I don't begrudge the extra money going to West Clare and North Clare, but still in all, the county town, we may have a much shorter road network, but its traffic much heavier, so it does get wear and tear. And particularly after all the rain this winter, we're seeing now that there is potholes appearing throughout the whole county. It's just got so wet in recent weeks that it just, the roads can't cope with that. So that's another part of the budget we have to be looking at. So I really think that we need to lobby hard with national government to get more funding down here.
Is there a contradiction given the amount of push there is behind Ennis and the amount of PR around the public realm and marketing the town as a place for investment, and then seeing a road funding reduction? And it's great, and the public realm works have been very welcome, and that took a long time to get that over the line as regards getting the funding for it. And then you had the COVID in the middle of it all, and Brexit and supply chain issues. So it's great that has now been completed, but it's a different funding pot in order to do our main roads that are going from A to B within the county. And I'm just talking about the whole county as opposed to just the NSMD. That's a different pot of money, and I think that we should be battling to get more of it. And local representatives here, such as yourself on many occasions, have raised in the recent past and over the years particular issues around the town, particular areas, parts of the roads network that are really needing investment, that are substandard, that are, as you say, subject to wear and tear. There's often a lot of difficulty in getting that funding. You're told that the funding simply isn't there, and those issues take a long time to be remedied. Looking ahead to significant international events that are taking place in this region, and Ennis, of course, being a very strategic place for accommodation, for tourism, etc., as part of those events, are you concerned now that there isn't those resources that are desperately needed?
They are needed, and there's no doubt about that. And I think that when you consider that we are in a town of 30,000 and a county of 130,000 almost, and that's not including the tourists once the tourist season kicks off, I think our roads budget should be stronger, it should be better. Something I brought up in it at the meeting was as regards active travel, that sometimes the active travel funding, all of it isn't spent within the year, and the difficulty with that is if you don't use it, you lose it. I've always been advocating that we should be able to use that for footpaths, because active travel, the whole genesis of it is to get people to leave the car at home and either walk or cycle to wherever their destination is. But if it can't be spent on cycle lanes, why can it not be spent on footpaths? And that's also coming out of the same budget. So it's just, I think we need to advocate for ourselves a little bit stronger. It's the squeaky hinge gets the oil, and I think we need to be a little bit more vocal and fight our corner a little bit better.
And you mentioned the Oireachtas members and the part they have to play in this. Will you be engaging with the likes of your own party's Oireachtas member, Joe Cooney, to ensure that this is fought for at national level?
Absolutely, 100%. I'm not one bit shy about coming forward, and I really believe that this is an important thing for County Clare.
This broadcast package on Clare FM is funded by the Local Democracy Reporting Scheme.